The other two questions you'll ever ask yourself. The first question, if I could walk in your life, is I would ask you, what are you doing to develop yourself? In other words, what are you doing personally to get better? How are you growing you? What are you doing to grow yourself? In a moment, I'm going to begin to lay out the laws of growth for you. But I'm here to tell you that 99% of you here probably do not have a personal growth plan. A plan of which you commit yourself on a daily basis to grow yourself, which would lead me to the second question: what are you doing to develop others? What are you doing to develop your team? What are you doing to develop your inner circle? What are you doing to develop the people around you? What kind of a team are you building? Because in developing others, you compound everything. You compound time, you compound energy, you compound money, you compound influence. Everything compounds the moment that you learn how to develop other people. All highly successful people understand that principle. And so therefore they realize that what they're learning, they've got to pass on to others. And how they're growing, they've got to teach others how to grow. And they realize that you cannot take others where you haven't been yourselves. And so what are you doing to grow yourself, and what are you doing to grow others? What are you doing to develop you? What are you doing to develop your team? Those are the two questions. And in the 15 laws of growth, I lay out laws that are just, they pass culture. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what your business is. They're laws. They're not principles. They're not good ideas. They've been tested. I have a grid to test what is a law and what is not a law. But the laws work. The laws work every time. That's what I want you to hear. They work every time. They work every time. They work with every person. I have the largest leadership training organization in the world, Equip. We've trained 6 million leaders in 175 countries. Is it safe to continue? Nothing like Las Vegas, is there? Nothing like Vegas. And these laws, I had a guy come up to me one time, and after I'd written the 21 Laws of Leadership, and he said, "John, I don't like one of your laws." And I was signing books. I said, "That's okay." And I kept signing books. I mean, and it bothered him. It was okay that he didn't like one of my laws. So he told me, he said, "No," he said, "I want you to understand, I don't like one of your laws." I said, "It's okay." And he's just standing there, he didn't move, and he said, no. He said, "One of the laws, I disagree with one of your 21 laws." So I stopped. I said, "It seems to me it's very important for you that I know that you don't like one of the laws, and I just want you to know it's okay." And he said, "Well, it's not okay with me." I said, "Look, let me explain something, sir." I said, "I didn't write the book to make you happy. I wrote the book to help you. I'm a leader, not a clown." And I could truly care. It doesn't bother me at all. You like one of the laws. It's like a person saying, "You know, I don't like the law of gravity." Just go up to a 4-story building and jump off. You see, immediately you'll buy the law. See, the laws never ask you if you like them. The laws say use them. Take them in your life, because they'll truly change your life. And I'm not going to do all 15 laws. Of course I'm not going to do all 15. I don't have time to do 15. I mean, that takes a day to do the 15 laws, okay? We've got an hour. So I'm going to give you maybe 4. Besides, why would I give you all 15 laws? You wouldn't buy the book. I've been doing this a long time, folks. I've been doing this a long time. Okay. So let's get going. Law number 1 is the law of intentionality. And the law of intentionality just says very simply, growth doesn't just happen. Because can I tell you something? Most people think growth just happens. My life changed in 1974 when I was having breakfast at the Holiday Inn in Lancaster, Ohio, and a man by the name of Kurt Kampmeyer looked at me and he said, "John, what is your plan for personal growth and development?" I'm in my early 20s, I'm a young leader, things are going pretty good. And I'm a little embarrassed because as a young leader I thought I always had to have an answer, and so when he asked me what my plan for personal growth was I began to talk to him about how hard I worked and the things I did, and he just listened very quietly, probably for 10 minutes. I was kind of like a plane circling an airfield. Are you with me? And it's trying to come in for a landing, going around and around, and finally I don't have anything else to say, so I just shut up and land that sucker. And as soon as I finished talking, he looked at me and said, "You don't have a plan, do you?" I said, "No, I don't have a plan." Then he said the words that changed my life. He said, "Growth is not an automatic process. You will not grow automatically. You will not get better automatically. It doesn't happen." You see, after we are born, the only thing that's automatic is that we die. That's automatic. You don't have to take a course on this. You don't have to go to a seminar. I mean, just hang on enough, you die, okay? It's automatic. Trust me on that. You don't have to work at it. But especially in things that are important in your life, things that are going to be seeds of success in your life, they are all uphill. They're uphill all the way. You can tell you're on the road to success. It's always uphill. It's never even. It's never down. It's always uphill. There's always intentionality. There is always effort. And so I started talking to my friends, and I began to ask them, okay, I've got to have a plan for growth. And so I went to my friends for the next 6 months. If I asked this question once, I asked it 500 times. I'd look at you and I'd say, what? Yeah, I'd go to my friends, do you have a personal growth plan? And I got 500 no's. And all of a sudden it hit me. We go through life thinking that we automatically will improve. That was life-changing to me. So by my mid-20s, I developed my own personal growth plan. And I can tell you that 95% of everything I have in my life, 95% of what I know, everything that I know in leadership, is a result of one day I committed myself to daily work a personal growth plan in my life. And the law, this is an amazing law, because this law just says you have to be intentional in things that you need to do to be successful. Okay, James Allen. James Allen, in his book, As a Man Thinketh, said these words. He said, people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but they're not anxious to improve themselves. And they therefore remain bound. I'll repeat it, it's powerful. It's not mine, it's James Allen's. People are anxious to improve their circumstances, but they're not anxious to improve themselves, and so he said they remain bound. Why do they remain bound? Because they don't understand. You can't fix the outside, you've got to fix the inside. You can't control the outside, you've got to control the inside. You start on the inside, you grow first. You don't try to fix all the stuff around you and not fix yourself. You cannot travel without until you first travel within. That's a fact. And I run into people all the time. They want the problem solved. They want an easier way to success in business. And what they don't understand is that they're looking for gimmicks, they're looking for shortcuts, they're looking for secrets. I love the people that want to give you secrets to success. Dear God, help them. There are no secrets to success. It's so simple, it's so basic. I'll give it to you later. James Allen understood. By the way, I read that book when I was in the 7th grade, As a Man Thinketh. It's a classic. It's 72 pages. I read it every year. I have it memorized. It's a classic. You see, I grew up reading all the great success books because my father paid us. I'm the middle child. He paid the 3 of us. Our allowance was based on reading good books. Oh yeah, I grew up with it. All of my friends got paid an allowance for doing chores, and so my dad said, you know, Phil and Bob, these guys, they get paid to do chores. I think that's a good idea. How about paying me to do chores around the house? Dad says it's a terrible idea. He said, I don't pay you to do chores because you're part of a family, and I don't pay you to be part of a family. So let me explain it this way, that by the time you were born, John, you already owed your mother for 9 months of room and board. So shut up and take out the garbage. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, why would I pay you to take out the garbage unless I wanted you to grow up and be a garbage man? He said, I put my money where my values are. And we were required from the 7th grade on to read 30 minutes a day of required reading, of which he put the books in our hands. I can tell you, well, by the time my brother graduated from college, he was already a millionaire. By the time I was 28, I had the 10th largest nonprofit organization in the country. By the time my sister was 27, she ran a hospital. Listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Not brilliant kids, not brilliant kids. Kids that were exposed at a very young age to all the success principles. I was reading Success Magazine. I was flying down to Rio 2 or 3 years ago at Success Magazine. They had the 25 most important books you could read to be successful. I thought, what a wonderful article, and I read it. And then I decided to go back and count the books of the 25 that I had read. 19 of the 25 books that you have to read to be successful, I had already read, devoured, underlined, studied by the time I graduated from high school. 19 of the 25. No wonder. No, it wasn't even a race, folks. It is the fastest person doesn't win the race. It's the person who starts first. Speed is overrated. Getting started is underrated. Especially getting started first. And what my father did is my father understood that if I could put the good stuff in my kids' lives, and I tell you that because some of you are parents. I did that for my children. I now do that for my grandchildren. They're on a reading program. Of course they're on a reading program. I pay them. We talk about the books. So as a man thinketh by James Allen, I grew up every year. I read that book from 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th. And by the time I graduated from high school, I said, this is the book I need to read every year. It's only 72 pages. There's nothing to it. And now what am I saying? Here's what I'm saying. What are you doing right now to intentionally grow yourself? What are you doing today to truly get better? It's a huge question. And if I could walk off the stage, if I could walk off the stage and we could just interact, I would say to you, the most important thing that you can do, the most important thing you can do is when you leave this conference, is to get yourself on a personal growth plan. It changed my life. I'm still on personal growth. I'm 66. I'm still on a personal growth plan. Law number 2. Law number 2. Okay. Law number 2. The law of the mirror. The law of the mirror says you must see value in yourself to add value to yourself. It's a huge law. In fact, it's so important, I'm going to sit down and talk to you, okay? Let's just sit down together here. You've got to see value. When you look in the mirror, you've got to see value in yourself to add value to yourself. If you don't see much value in you, you won't put much time in you. You won't put much energy in you. You won't put much money in you. You won't bet on yourself. If you don't see much value in you, you won't bet on yourself. You know what? If you don't see much value in you, you'll want somebody else to bet on you. You'll want somebody else to sponsor you. This is a law on self-image. And the law on self-image basically says, as you see yourself, you'll place value on yourself. And as you see others, you'll place value on them. So if you have a low self-image, you won't put much into you. And if you have a low self-image, you won't put much into others. I know that for a fact. I see it all the time. I watch and I observe people. And one of the greatest things you can do is begin to see value in yourself. And one of the great things I love about Beachbody, one of the great things I love about this type of an organization is they begin to help you see that you have potential and that you can succeed. And I love that when one of the diamonds was saying, I listen to me, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And all she was trying to do is just to kind of help you to understand that you're a person of worth, that you're a person of potential. And if you see yourself as a person of worth, you'll bet on yourself. But if you don't see yourself as a person of worth, you won't bet on you. And what's sad is no one else will. Your self-image is the lid on your potential. And if you see yourself from a 1 to a 10 as a 4, you see yourself as below average, if this is my self-image right here, let me tell you something. My self-image will never allow. It'll never allow me to get beyond who I think I am. what I think I can become. My self-image literally is the lid on my potential. It doesn't matter whether I'm in Beachbody or any other organization. My self-image is my lid, and my lid will not move until I move my self-image. Now, my name's John, and I'm your friend. And trust me, I know what it is to develop people. We've trained 6 million of them in 175 countries. I understand this game very well. I understand it very well. And what I want you to hear from me now is the fact that you are selling yourself short. That you have better potential than what you realize, and you have greater worth than what you understand. And if you can hear anything about my message today, my message is that you were created. God created you for a purpose, with a purpose to be successful. And I want you to understand, that whatever number you've got on your life, that number is where you're going to, if you got a 6 on your life, can I tell you something? You're going to do 5 work. You're not going to do 7 work. You're not going to do 8 work. If you've got a 6 self-image, listen to me very carefully. The most important thing you can do in your life to grow is to lift your own self-image lid. Now, how do you do that? Number 1, you lift your own self-image lid when every day you add value to somebody. When every day you add value to someone else, you begin to lift your self-image lid. Trust me on this. It's a fact. Every day I wake up and I ask myself a very simple question. I mean, I've done this for years. Every day I wake up and I ask myself this question: what can I do to add value to people? And who can I add value to? Every day I intentionally ask myself that question. And every day I purposely, intentionally add value to someone. When I was having breakfast at my hotel this morning, there was an individual that I had seen every morning, and so I went over and introduced myself and asked them for 5 minutes of their time, and I just sat down and I shared with them that I had watched them as they walked around the people, and they had a good presence about them, and it just told, I just wanted to know how much they'd add value to me every time I came down from breakfast. They just had a smile, and I just poured myself into this young lady for 5 minutes. She walked away, I could tell. Well, I was adding value. I mean, you'll increase your self-image when you give yourself away. You see, Robert Louis Stevenson said, "I determine success by how many seeds I sow daily." He said, it's the seeds I sow daily, not the harvest I reap. Most people, they're looking for the harvest. And I'm telling you today, forget the harvest. Just start sowing seeds. Just start adding value. I've done it for many, many years. I understand. There's a huge return. But if you just sow seeds, if you just add value every day, it'll do something that will unbelievably add value to you. And it will increase your self-image. Let me tell you something else will increase your self-image. Every day, do the right thing, even though it's the hard thing. I've observed and I've watched people that have a good self-image. They don't cave. They don't follow peer pressure. They make their own decisions, and they make the right decisions, even when it's the hard decisions. They don't back away from them. Wow. Your self-image will so greatly determine your growth. Law number 3. Before I give you law number 3, let me ask you a question. Are you learning something? Woo! All right. Then we'll continue. Look at your neighbor and say, "Are you learning something?" Ask your neighbor, "Are you learning something?" Look right back at him and say, "Not enough yet." Dear God, you only had 2 laws. There are a whole 13 out there you don't even have a clue about. You can't write fast enough. You gotta buy the book. I go fast. I don't expect you to keep up. It's not my first rodeo. Law number three is the law of awareness. The law of awareness says you must know yourself to grow yourself. Oh my gosh. If you really want to grow you've got to know you. You've got to know yourself to grow yourself. You see, if you and I could have this personal conversation, one of the things I would ask you is, what are your strengths? You see, every one of you in the auditorium, you have, 2, maybe 3, probably not, but could be 4 strengths. 4 is a little heavy, probably 2 or 3 is your number. Okay? 3 is my number. I thought it was 4. Margaret and I were having breakfast the other day talking about it. She said, no, it's 3. I figured, then I'll be 2, then I'll be 1. Then they just bury me, okay? But you have strength. And one of the questions I would ask you if you and I were talking is I would ask you, let's talk about your strength. Now I'm talking now about giftedness. I'm talking now about ability. I'm talking about how you are wired. This is not something that you chose. This is you. This is in your DNA. You have a strength. I have it. And what I'm saying to you is, in this area, you've got to know yourself to grow yourself. One of the things I want you to understand is you have to know what your strengths are. Because whatever your strengths are, that's what you want to grow. In the area of abilities, listen carefully to me, in the area of your abilities, you have to work on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Most people, because of our culture, they work on their weaknesses. When you're in school, if you got an A in math, you got a C in English, what do they tell you to work on? They tell you to work on your what? English. Get that grade up, get that C, get that up to a B, work on that weakness. I'm saying if you got an A in math and a C on English, work on your math. Forget your English. You were probably lucky to get a C. Teacher probably liked you and bumped you up a grade. Now, why did you get an A in math and a C in English? Because you have a math mind, not a word mind, not a language mind. It's not dumb. It's not right or wrong. It's just who you are. Your strength is math. It's not English. And see, all of your life, you and I have been taught to work on our weaknesses. And I'm here to say, don't work on your weaknesses. And you say, John, why shouldn't I work on my weaknesses? It's because you're weak. And your weaknesses. In other words, again, my name's John. I'm your friend. You're not any good at that area. I'm here to set you free. You can only increase a gift or an ability 2 numbers. Not 10, folks. 2. So let's say I'm below average. I'm a 3 on something, okay? And I say, okay, I'm going to really work on this because I'm really below average, and so I work hard. And so let's say, for example, I love music. There's a problem. I can't sing. But I love music. So I said, well, I want to be a great singer. I would just love to be hey, I'm in Vegas. Hello? I'd like to sing. So what do? I'm not good at it. I'm a 3. So I get a teacher. And I take music appreciation. I pour money and time and effort. And for the next 2 years, I take all this music stuff. And can I tell you, 2 years after that, maybe I went from a 3 to a 4. And can I tell you, I'm still below average. Now listen to me very carefully. This is very important. People don't pay for average. People don't pay for, and I'm absolutely amazed at how many people love average. I mean, I just look at them and I say, why are you so in love with average? Average is average, and everyone is average, and you want to be everyone, and you just want to be average all your life. It's just average, and average is never going to be successful. Nobody gets excited about average. You don't get excited about average. You don't say, man, I just love that TV show. It's so average. Let's go. Oh, dear God. We're in Vegas. I heard there was a concert down there that was just really average. You don't stand in line for average. You don't pay for average. You don't look at your friend and after you both worked hard and said, like, let's go out to dinner. Like, let's find an average restaurant. And you don't go to the average restaurant. When they start to seat, you say, we just want an average table. I know there's the ones over there by the windows, the water in the lake. We don't want that. We want an average, just an average table. And when the waiter comes, we don't look and say, are you average? We would like that average. We don't want, if you're good, we don't want you. We like you. Do you take the order and then not tell it to the kitchen? And then we remind you 30 minutes later we had our food and you say, oops, and then you bring the wrong food back because we like that too. And by the way, when we were talking about the menu, what do you have that's average here? We don't want to know what your specialty is. I mean, do you have something nobody's ordered today? Now you don't go sit at an average table and have an average meal with an average waiter in an average restaurant and walk out of that place and you look at that friend and you say, I am pumped, we must come back here. No. Listen to me, folks. People don't pay for average. And if you work on your weaknesses in the area of abilities, you'll only be average. But let's say you're a 7. Maybe you're above average in something. And so now this is a strength of yours. And so you work on it, and you can go from a 7 to an 8. You could even maybe get to be a 9. Can I tell you something? When you get in that top 20%, when you get 9 and 10, people stand in line for 9s. They pay for 9s all day. And you see, if you work on your strengths, in the area of your abilities and your giftedness, you'll really grow and you'll do really well and you'll be very successful. So when you get your growth plan together, when you say, okay, I'm going to start growing, you got to grow in the area of your strengths. You got to grow in the areas that you're good at. I'm good at communication, I'm good at leadership, and I'm good at creativity. Those are my 3 strengths. And I spend all my time growing in those areas. I don't spend time on other things and abilities and gifts I don't have. Why would I do that? I'm not going to be any good at it at all. I love to play golf, but I'm like a 12 handicap. I'm not a real good golfer. But I love to play. But I'm never going to be a scratch golfer. Like when I play golf with a guy and he hits a bad shot and he kind of gets mad, I look at him and say, excuse me, you're getting a little upset here. Do you do this for a living? No. I said, thank God. You're not any good. The problem is you're too close to the ball after you hit it. If you didn't get that, you don't belong here. Now, I said, work on your strengths in the area of your abilities. You heard that, didn't you? Now let me tell you what you work on. You said, should I work on your weak areas? Yes, let me tell you where you work on your weaknesses. In areas of choices. In areas of choices, work on your weaknesses. In areas of ability, which is not your choice, it's just who you are, work on your strengths. So you say, what's a choice? Oh, discipline's a choice. If you're not a disciplined person, you better work on it real strong. Because you can't be successful in this business if you're not disciplined. Attitude, that's a choice. Of course it's a choice. Now let me, in areas that are not choice, in areas of strengths like gifts and abilities I talked to you about, in areas that are not choices, the growth is incremental, it's slow, and it's not large. It's 2 numbers. In areas of choices, the growth is fast and it's exponential. You can go, literally, in areas of choices, you can go from a 1 to a 10 because it's a choice. If you're not disciplined, one day you say, I can't be a success in this business. I'm listening to all these diamonds. They're disciplined people. I'm an undisciplined person. I've got to get disciplined to be good in this business. Now that's a choice. You can be a 1 today, and in 3 months you can be a 10. You see, in areas of choices, growth is dramatic, growth is fast. In areas that are not choices, growth is slow, it's incremental, and it's not big. So in areas of weaknesses, you work on those in choices. In areas of strength, such as abilities, you work on those. And that, see, you've got to know yourself to grow yourself. So you don't want to work on everything, because you can work on some things and never get any better. I told you a little bit earlier, I play golf, and I love to play golf, but I'm not really good at golf. And I love these people who say, well, practice more. The practice, I love the expression, practice makes perfect, practice makes perfect. What idiot said that? Can I tell you something? If you're not gifted in an area and you practice, it doesn't make you perfect. Practice makes permanent. In other words, if I practice my golf swing, it just means that my slice always goes, the ball goes to the same part of the woods every time. Work on your strengths in the area of ability. Work on your weaknesses in the area of choices. You must know yourself to grow yourself. That's the law of awareness. Let me give you law number 4. Law number 4 is the most important law to me, maybe not to you, of all the 15 laws of growth. I owe more to this law than the other laws, so I want to make sure I taught this today. It's the law of consistency. And the law of consistency says that motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. That motivation is what you come here, you come to your conference here, your Beachbody conference, and you hear all these speakers and you see what they've done, and you say, boy, I want to be just like them, and I want to be successful, I want to help people, I want to do well. You get motivated. It has nothing to do with your success when you get home. You do understand that, don't you? That wears off in about 2 days. And you can say, wow, I was really going to work on this business, but it feels good today as I did yesterday. Woo. Wow. Boy, they need to call another conference. This annual stuff isn't enough. My dear God, we need to do this weekly. We need to have a weekly. Let's do a weekly pump up. Whoa, 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 whoa. By the way, I'm a motivational teacher, not a motivational speaker. Motivational speakers make you feel good, but the next day you don't know why. You just walk around and say, ooh, I feel good. Woo, I feel good. I have no clue. Don't know what to do. Ooh, I feel good. You see, a motivational teacher, they make you feel good, but the next day you know why. If the stuff you are writing down now, if you'll just take this 3 days from now, it works just as good as it does right today. Trust me, folks. I determined a long time ago I wanted people to enjoy what I said, but I was going to make sure that I said something that could change their life. And the law of consistency will change your life. Now we overlook this law. The reason we overlook this law is because it's not sexy. I mean, consistency. I mean, somebody said, "Can I just sit down for the moment and let's just have lunch?" I just look up to you so much, and you've taught me so many things, and there are so many things that are wonderful about you. Can I just talk about you and how wonderful you are? And you said, "Oh, yeah, I have time. Take 4 or 5 hours. Go ahead." But just think how disappointed you are when they start to talk about how wonderful you are, and the first thing comes out of my mouth is, the thing I love about you is you are so consistent. Now you had 10 adjectives. Consistent wasn't one of them. Isn't that true? You see, this is amazing law, but we want to look over it because you see, when the diamonds are up here and they're getting recognized, and everybody's clapping and cheering, and they're doing all this stuff. By the way,
get the EMTs ready. Awesome.
And I was back in that green room, I said, yes, yes. You said, now when did that old man die? After 20 push-ups? Now here's the point. Consistency wins the day. I've been teaching leadership since 1974, almost 40 years. That's consistent. I've been writing books since 1979. That's consistent. I've been developing CDs and DVDs and resources since 1982. That's consistent. In other words, this consistency stuff, it really works. And the problem in so many of these kind of businesses is you jump in for the quick fix. You say, okay, I'm going to give Beachbody a try. Yes, I am. And I'm going to just give it my best effort for 6 months. All right, I'll wait a year to go diving. Listen to me, folks. The secret of every one of the people's successes on this stage is they do every day the things they should do to be a success. And they keep on doing it. For example, he'll come to me all the time and say, John, you sit on a stool, you got a table, you get a cough drop in your mouth, you get your water, and you talk to people, and you just look so relaxed. Well, I'm relaxed. I'm not nervous. Somebody backstage said, break your leg. I said, break your own. I don't want a broken leg. Dear God, I'm too old for that. But you say, John, you just are relaxed. You just seem so comfortable. I'm not nervous. I wasn't nervous back then. I'm not nervous now. I'm just relaxed talking to, I don't know, 7,000, whatever. As if somebody's one-on-one over the corner with me, and you and I just have a one-on-one conversation, I'm nervous. And you say, how can you just be so good? It's very simple. I've done this 12,000 times. 12,000. 12,000 times. Let me explain this way. If I'm not good now, after 12,000 times, we have some real deep issues to discuss. You say, well, John, you just make it look so easy. Well, it's easy. It's as easy as can be. I don't mean to sound kind, it's very easy. I mean, people think I'm working. I don't think I'm working. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this. I'm not, working's like work. In fact, I don't even know what work is anymore. I've done this, and I love doing this, and I love adding value to people, and I can work and play confused. Somebody that said, I think you're a workaholic. I said, no. I said, I think I'm a workaholic. I just love this. I love this. And you say, oh, I wish I could do that. We can. 12,000 times from now. You'll sit on a stool. Drink water. Do push-ups. It only takes 12,000 times. Malcolm Gladwell says, nobody becomes great at anything until they've done it 10,000 times. Now, what am I saying? Look, this is consistency. I just do it. You see, by the way, I love this. I love these people who say, okay, this is my first time doing this, and I've never done this before, and I really want to do a good job. And I smile and say, forget it. I said, forget what? I said, forget about good job. What do you mean, forget about good job? It's your first time. Listen to me carefully. My name's John. I'm your friend. Listen. Nobody's good the first time. Nobody. Nobody's good the first time. You weren't good the first time you tried to talk. You didn't one day just get up and start talking in sentences to your parents. You just said one word. And the only people who knew what you said was the grandparents. Grandparents interpreted for you for the next 2 months. You weren't any good when you first started. And when you started walking, you weren't any good. You didn't get up and say, I want to walk a block with my family today. You took a step and you fell down. Okay, guys, listen to me. I'm your friend. You're not good the first time. So quit worrying about being good the first time. You don't need to be good the first time. You just need to have a first time. And once you have a first time, you know what you need after a first time? A second time. And after the second time, you need a third time. And after the third time, you need a fourth time. After the fourth time, you need a fifth time. And after the fifth time, you need a sixth, and a seventh, and an eighth, and ninth, and 10th, and 11th, and 12th, and 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. Hundreds. Listen. You're not good the first time. It's not your goal to be good first time. It's just do it the first time. Do it the first time. Then you learn, and you get a little better, and you get a little better, and you get a little... You see, the law of consistency says you will not be good at anything unless you have been consistent over a long time. You just won't be. So relax. The next time you're worried about doing something good for the first time, just start laughing at yourself. Because everybody else is. You're not supposed to be good the first time. You're just supposed to start. I tell people all the time, just get started. I love people. They come to me and say, okay, John, I know you've written over 70 books, and I want to be a writer. I want to write. And could you just tell me, what's the secret of writing? Okay. Well, this is a toughie. You want to write a book? Yes. Okay. What you do is you get a pen, piece of paper, and you start writing. Have you written any words down yet? Oh, no, not yet. But I want to write a book. I want to write a book. Yeah, I do. I want to write a book. But you haven't written anything down. You're on drugs. You see, you've got to start writing. And by the way, when you start writing, it won't be any good. So don't wait to write before you get good. I say, well, when I really get a good story, I'll start writing. You're not that good. It took me 1 year to write my first book, and it's only 100 pages. 100 pages. A whole year. Do you want to figure that out? That's 1 page every 3.5 days. Do you want me to break that down for you more? I'm talking about 1 page every 3.5 days. It's about 40 words a day. It's about a word every 30 minutes.
This was the one before.
And I had in my 100 pages, I had 33 chapters.
What is that? My husband dancing in our living room. And the next one is my daughter.
Yeah, you heard right. You're looking there and saying, did you say 33 chapters? 100 pages, that's 3 pages per chapter. First one. And a lady come up, it's still in print. Shows you how desperate people are. Still, I had a lady come up to me the other day and said, this is your first book, would you sign? I said, yeah. I started to apologize. I'm sorry, John Maxwell. And she said, oh, I love this book. And I just stopped writing. I said, you do? Oh, she said, I love this book. She said, I said, what do you love? She said, the short chapters. I love the short chapters. She said, just 3 pages. She said, it's easy to read. She said, what made you, this is ingenious. What made you think of just doing 3-page chapters in your book? I said, lady, it was my first book. Let me explain to you. It took me weeks to do 3 pages. In fact, some of the chapters are 2 pages too long. It was my first book. You're not good when you do your first. You're not good. You're not going to be good. You don't even try to be good. You just got to go. You see, the law of consistency, he said, the only way you'll ever become great at anything is to be consistent at something. Did you get it? The only way you'll ever become great at anything is to be consistent with something. And the problem with too many people when they get into business like this is they just absolutely think they can get good too quick. And they don't have a sense of realism to it. Now, is it a great business? Yes. Can you go diamond? Yes. But it takes consistency, it takes effort, it takes energy. All right, let me teach you the rule of 5. You're so good. You're so good. You're so good. I don't teach this to everybody. I don't like to, you don't waste your teaching on some people. You just look at them and say, God, take them down. Doorbell rang, nobody's home. But you're good. You're good. You're ready. What I want to teach you for the next 8 minutes will change your life. Now I'm not saying could change your life. If you can grab what I want to teach for the next 8 minutes, you'll catch me. You'll catch me like the guy caught me last night. I was in one of those little candy stores getting me some licorice jelly beans for my nourishment for today. Part of my preparation. And he came up to me and said, John, he said, I heard you 7 years ago, you changed my life. I said, tell me about it. Rule of 5. I'm going to teach you the rule of 5, and this will change it. So look at your neighbor and say, this will change your life. Look back at your neighbor and say, and it needs to be changed.
Yeah, it needs to be changed, that's for sure.
And it needs to be changed, that's very good. Woo! I love it.
You ready? Yeah. Here's the rule of 5. Here's rule of 5. If you have a tree in your backyard that you want to cut down and you have an axe, if you pick up the axe and you go to that tree and you swing 5 times. Put the axe down. Next day, go out in the backyard, pick up the axe, go to the same tree. Put the axe down. The next day, you go out in your backyard, you pick up the axe, you go to the same tree. 5 times. If every day you pick up an axe, you go to the same tree, and you take that axe and you swing 5 times at that tree. Just 5. Not 15, not 50, not 500. 5 times. Let me ask you a question. What is eventually going to happen to that tree? That tree will fall. Absolutely. Case dismissed. We don't need to talk nor debate or question about the tree falling. It will fall. And what's interesting is we only swung at that tree 5 times. But we every day went to that tree and we 5 times with that axe, we hit that tree. Now, if the tree is big, it may not fall for a couple of years. If the tree is small, maybe a couple of months. You see, the size of the tree will determine the time it falls. But it doesn't matter what size the tree is. It will fall if you every day swing 5 times, take an axe, and hit that tree. You've got to ask yourself a question this morning. What's my tree? What's my dream? What do I really in my life want to accomplish? And by the way, it's what's my tree, not what are my trees. You see, if you go out every day and you swing 5 times at a different tree, you don't knock any trees down, you just have a scarred forest. Most people, that's how they run their life. They just scar things up. They don't fell the tree because they don't consistently come back to the same place and consistently swing 5 times at it. So let's go back to my tree. My tree is writing books. That's what I do. So people say, well, my God, John, how do you write 72 books? Oh my gosh, you must be brilliant, you must be a genius. 72 books, oh. Nothing brilliant, nothing genius. Or I told you how long it took me to write my first book. So genius is not in it. In fact, if you just look at me, all of you should be greatly encouraged today. By the way, this is not in the teaching, but I'm going to stop long enough because you need to hear it. Success creates a gap between you and other people. Are you with me? I call it the success gap. People look at people that are highly successful and they see the money they make and the places they go and the friends they have and the things they do. And then they say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. They're a star. They're a star. And when you're successful, you've got a choice to make. You can either keep that gap really big and be the star. And if you keep the gap really big, you're the star and you have what they call fans. You have fans that follow you around. They're fans. Or you can make a determination to close that gap. You see, many years ago, I said, I'll close the gap. And you close the gap by not talking about how great you are. You close the gap by talking to people about the things that you've missed and the things that you failed at. You use a lot of self-depreciating humor, and you help people understand that you're not a star. You see, my name's John. I don't want fans in my life. I want friends. And I determined the only way you get friends is close the gap. Because when you close the gap, you make success possible for other people. Now they don't see you as the star and say, I would like to be like you. They see you as a friend and say, I could be like you. All of a sudden it's off of you and what you've done, and it goes to what they can do, and it is empowering, it is releasing to people. And if you really want to, in Beachbody, if you really want to just develop a culture, a culture of success, close that gap. I work hard at it. When I go international, it's just rock star stuff that I won't allow. I just won't. They want to usher me in, they want to usher me out. I get the security guys. I walk through the crowd. I shake hands. We take pictures. I talk. I kiss babies. I want to be your friend. Well, when I'm done today, I want to walk off stage. I want you to say, I can do that. I can be successful. You see, if you want fans when you walk off stage, everybody talks about how great you are. If you want friends when you walk off stage, everybody thinks how great they can be. And there's a world of difference between those. There's a world of difference between those. Now let's go back to the rule of 5 in writing. People ask me all the time, see, how do you write your books? Well, it's very simple. 1 word at a time. I've not found another method. I've tried a couple times to a blank page, look at it and go. Be filled. Never worked for me. I've got a 4-color pen and a legal pad. And I write 1 word at a time. So they say, well, how come you've written so many books? Well, number 1 is the secret is get old. But I have a rule of 5 for writing. You see, my tree is writing books. And every day I read, every day I think, every day I file, every day I ask questions, every day I write. Every day I read, every day I think, every day I file, every day I ask questions, every day I write. Every day I read, every day I think, every day I file, every day I ask questions, every day I write. Every day I read, every day I think, every day I file, every day I ask questions, every day I write. Every day I read, every day I think, every day I file, every day I ask questions, every day I write. Every day I read, every day I think, every day I file, every day I ask questions, every day I write. And you look at me and say, John, what do you mean by every day? What I mean by every day is every day. Now, okay. When you say every day, you mean every day? Can I just every Christmas? Guess what I do every Christmas? Every Christmas I read, think, file, ask questions, right? Guess what I do on my birthday? Every birthday I read, think, ask questions, write, file. Guess what I do on my anniversary? None of your business. But during the day I read, think, file. Every day. You see, the key is every day. Can I tell you something? You're better to do essential things every day than big things someday. We overestimate the event. We underestimate the process. And the law of consistency says you can't do that. You can't underestimate the process. The secret. Okay, here, I told you earlier, I'd tell you the secret to success. You thought I'd forgotten it. I'd forgotten. I'm going to tell you right now, the secret is done. I'll tell you right now, that was just too fast. You'll take it for granted. I'll make you wait longer. But look at your neighbor and say, sometime John's going to teach you the secret of success. Go ahead and tell him. See how much better it is when you have to wait for something? Now you're ready to listen. The secret to your success is determined by your daily agenda. What you do every day determines your success. Every day, by what you do, you're either getting better or worse. Every day, you're either preparing or repairing. Every day. Every day. People come to my life and they say, John, what books? What books should I read? You read 72. I can tell you what books you should read. You should read the 15 Laws of Growth, which I'm teaching on today, because I'm going to give you maybe one more law and then I'm done. Second thing you ought to read a book I wrote called Today Matters. That'll change your life. I have what I call the Daily Dozen, 12 things you need to do on a daily basis that will ensure your success. And the third book is How Successful People Think. Because the greatest gap between successful and unsuccessful people is the thinking gap. Successful people think entirely differently than unsuccessful people. By the way, for some good stuff that's just absolutely free, you can follow me on Twitter. Be like 800,000 other people, and the reason that 800,000 people follow me is every day I put quotes. I put success quotes for you every day in there. On Friday I blog a new lesson every week on success. It's free. You can go on the web and get Minute with Maxwell every morning, 60 seconds, where I take a word and I talk to you about how that makes you a better leader. That thing's gone viral all over the world. They're all free. So just go to johnmaxwell.com. You'll get anything. It's all free. It's all free for it. That stuff is. Books aren't. Books aren't. By the way, when I wrote my book, Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, I blogged it. I blogged a chapter a week. We had 100,000 people make comments. And we took some of their comments. They really were good. I'd say, help me. I'd give them the chapter, and then I'd say, make it better. And they give me ideas. We average changing 6 to 7 things per chapter. And I'd say, you just give me your name, And I'd put their little thought in there, and I'd give them the credit. That's how I'll give you credit. I won't give you royalties, but I'll give you credit. And then, when the book came out, they were surprised. I took their pictures and I put it all over the book. So when they got the book, they said, here I am, I'm here. That's fun. I wish I had time to talk to you about communication. Oh my God. It's a phenomenal subject. If you can communicate effectively with people, the world will be yours. The ability to connect with people is the #1 success ability that will give you what you need in life. That's a fact. Okay. Let me teach you one law. I've got 4 minutes and 16 seconds. One more law. That gives you 5. That means you only have 10 to go. And if you don't get the book by the weekend, you probably never will make it in this business. Law number 5 is the law of environment. And the law of environment says growth thrives in conducive surroundings. In other words, you grow better when you're in an environment that is conducive to growth. And I say this law to last because I think that's one of the great contributing things that Beachbody does for you. I think one of the great things that this organization does for you is it gives you a growth environment. It puts you in an environment that is conducive to grow and develop yourself. I mean, you're very fortunate because when I was your age, I wasn't in a growth environment that was conducive. In fact, I was in an organization that wasn't any good. Their idea of progress was moving backwards slowly. Okay. I was in trouble. And so as a 26-year-old kid, I wrote down what I'm going to give you as I wrap this up today. I wrote down because I needed to put myself in a growth environment, and I wasn't in one. And so I began to ask myself, what does it look like to have a growth environment that is conducive to help me to develop myself? And here's what I wrote. My growth environment is a place, #1, where others are ahead of me. In other words, somebody's faster, somebody's smarter, somebody's more successful, somebody's more experienced. Other people are ahead of me. I want to be in a growth environment where I'm not #1. In fact, let me just say this to you. When you're at the head of the class, you're in the wrong class. You need to go get it in another class where you're not the head of the class, where somebody is smarter, where somebody is better, where somebody is quicker, where somebody does have more knowledge, where somebody has had more success. You always got to be around people that'll stretch you and challenge you and bring the best out of you. A growth environment, #2, is a place where I'm continually challenged. In other words, where I wake up every day and I have to climb a mountain. I'm not coasting. I'm not just riding the wave. If I make it today, it's because I got to climb a mountain. I got to do something big. A growth environment #3 is a place where the focus is forward. It points to tomorrow as a better day than today. A growth environment #4 is a place where the atmosphere is affirming, where people around me, they encourage me. Encouragement is so huge for your own development and growth. And that's one of the great things about Beachbody. It's an encouraging environment. My father's amazing. Still alive, he's 92. Phenomenal. Great health, still works. It's amazing. In fact, it's so fun. He's in the senior citizens complex. He lives in a village. He can care for himself, and so he became kind of like the pastor of this village. So he had a Sunday morning service and he filled it up. And so he went to another Sunday morning service and he filled it up. So he went to an afternoon service and he filled it up. So we're having lunch the other day and he looked at me and said, "Son," he said, "we're just growing so fast." He's 92. Get the picture. He said, "I'm looking into satellite right now. I'm thinking about satellite." He's 92. He's 92. He's a major encourager. Just encourages everybody. When I was talking, I said, "Dad," I said, how do you know a person needs encouragement?" He said, "If they're breathing." If they're breathing, they need encouragement. A A growth environment is a place, number 5, where you're out of your comfort zone, not out of your gift zone. Never leave your gift zone. Folks, listen to me. Once you find your gift, never leave it. Never leave it. So you never leave your gift zone, but you want to be out of your comfort zone. You want to be over your head. And when you're over your head, it doesn't matter how deep the water is. You're over your head. You want to be out of your comfort zone. Number 6, a growth environment is a place where you wake up excited. You love what you do. Nobody has to pump you up. Nobody has to get you up. Nobody has to motivate you to get up. You love it. Number 7, a growth environment is a place where failure is not your enemy. You can fail and be encouraged because you realize you're probably one step closer. I wrote a book several years ago called Failing Forward. Life change. Another book comes out in October, my next book, which is like Failing Forward. It's called Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. It's a good title, isn't it? Doggone. After 72, you just get good. Consistency. A growth environment is number 8, where others are growing. In other words, you're not the only one growing, so you're not like sticking out like, oh man, you're growing as the rest of us. We haven't grown for a long time. Number 9, a growth environment is a place where people desire change. They want to change because they understand they can't grow without changing. And number 10, a growth environment is a place where growth is modeled for you. You get to see it with your own eyes. And you get to experience it, and it's expected of you. That's what a growth environment is. My time is up. I'm going to close my legal pad. And I'm going to say you were in pure delight